Dear students, good morning to all of you who are present. Sadvika, Prakhar, Shanti, Kushi, Mayur, Suhani, Arya Divedi, Arya Singh, Tanvi, Alma, and Gaurav. Gaurav Bajpai, I'm seeing you for the first time after so many days. Where were you all these days? Dear students, today I'm going to begin a new lesson, that is Albert Einstein at school. Okay, can anyone text me whether I am audible properly? Can you please text me quickly? Is there any echo in the background? Is there any background noise? Shall I continue? Please let me know quickly, dear students, if I am audible to you properly. If I am audible, just write down yes. If there is any background noise, you can also report it to me so that I can turn off the fan. Can you please text me whether I am audible clearly to you? Okay, so you mean to say my voice is coming low? Okay. Dear students, I'll raise my voice. Hopefully you'll be able to hear me now. Dear students, I'd like to also get a confirmation from you whether there is background noise. If there is background noise present, I need to turn off the fan. So, is there any background noise, or it's my voice only which you are able to hear? Tanvi, am I audible properly now? Okay, I'll start my lesson today. Dear students, today we are going to learn a new lesson, that is Albert Einstein at school. Albert Einstein is a great scientist, physicist you might have heard about many times before. So let us know something about his school life. Okay, when he was small, whether he was good at studies and what subjects were was he interested in, and all that we'll come to know. So in this story basically we'll come to know about Albert Einstein's experience at school. Okay, what kind of experience did he have in the school? Was it a pleasant experience or it's a bitter experience? So we shall come to know about all this in this lesson. It's very interesting, dear students. Stay connected so that you are able to hear me properly. Prakhar Bhumia, thank you so much for your confirmation. Okay, so Albert Einstein, who was born in 1879 and lived up to 1955, he died in 1955, he is regarded as the greatest physicist since Newton. In the following extract from the young Einstein, the well-known biographer Patrick Pringle describes the circumstances which led to Albert Einstein's expulsion from a German school. Okay, so this is an extract, dear students. This is again an extract which is taken from the young Einstein, which is the well-known biographer written by well-known biographer Patrick Pringle. Okay, who describes and in this extract we come to know the circumstances that led to Albert Einstein's expulsion from a German school. Okay, expulsion from German school. Okay, so let's begin. This is at the very beginning we can come across the conversation between Albert Einstein and his history teacher. Okay, his history teacher wasn't happy with Einstein. We shall find out the reason as to why he wasn't happy with Einstein. So let's find out. In what year, Einstein, asked the history teacher, did the Prussians defeat the French at Waterloo? This is the question asked by history teacher to Einstein. What was the question? Did the Prussians defeat the French at Waterloo? I don't know, sir, is his reply. He replied that I don't know, sir. Why don't you know? You have been told it often enough. Then he was asked by the teacher, history teacher once again, why don't you know? Okay, why don't you know? Chaitanya, good morning. Stay connected. Okay, so he says, he asked, his history teacher became angry and said, why don't you know? You have been told it often enough. You have been told often enough. I must have forgotten. Albert Einstein replied, I must have forgotten, even if you have said several times in the class. Did you ever try to learn? Asked Mr. Brown. Mr. Brown is the history teacher. So he asked, did you ever try to learn? No, sir. Okay, his straightforward answer in the class was, no, sir. Albert replied with his usual unthinking honesty. Okay. So, this is the bitter truth, dear students. Albert Einstein wasn't like other children. Okay, Albert Einstein wasn't like other children. Okay, like other children will think about what the teacher will like or dislike me if I say something no or something not favorable. If I say something which my teacher doesn't like, he might dislike me. But Albert Einstein was frank enough, he was honest enough, he did not think of the consequence. Whatever he was doing is something what he will express, admit candidly, means very clearly. Okay. Therefore, he said, no, sir. Okay. I did not try to learn history properly, he means to say. Albert replied with his usual unthinking honesty. Why not? When the teacher asked, why not? Why didn't you try to learn it properly? Why didn't you try to ever learn what I said? Then he replied, I can't see any point in learning dates. One can always look them up in a book. Okay. So Albert Einstein from the very beginning was a very much curious child, and his methodology of looking at things was it's quite different from other children. Okay. He said that what is the point in remembering the date of history? Date of history can be consulted from the book. Okay, I am not interested to learn only the date or the facts. Facts can be found anywhere in the book. Okay, then let's see what happens. I can't see any point on learning dates. One can always look them up in a book. Mr. Brown was speechless for a few moments. Mr. Brown became absolutely speechless because this sort of an answer was never expected from Einstein. So Einstein, and moreover, he did not expect such answer. That he did not expect that Einstein could come up with such a point blank answer, such a blunt, such a straightforward answer. Therefore, he became absolutely surprised. Mr. Brown was speechless. He became absolutely speechless. "You amaze me, Einstein," he said at last. "Don't you realize that one can always look most things up in books? That applies to all the facts you learn at school." So now the teacher is giving his counter argument. Okay, he's saying, "Don't you think whatever you teach in the whatever you learn in the class can also be found in books later on at home? Then why do you attend class?" He means to say, then why do children attend the class? If everything what teacher is teaching is available in the book, then what's the point in attending the class? You can read those facts up in the book. Okay, so this is what he meant by his question. Don't you realize that one can always look most things up in books? That applies to all the facts you learn at school. Yes, sir. Then I suppose you don't see any point in learning facts. Then he says, then why do I suppose you don't see any point in learning facts? You are not interested in learning facts. "Frankly, sir, I don't," said Albert. Albert yet again said frankly, "Sir, I don't want to. I'm not interested in simply learning facts." "No, sir," he said. "Frankly, I don't." Means I don't see any point in learning facts. Einstein says that he does not see any point in learning facts. Then you don't believe in education at all. The history teacher now cross questions him, Albert Einstein, asking him, "You don't believe in education at all in that sense?" "Oh, yes, sir, I do. I don't think learning facts is education." See, what a mature answer even when he was a child. Even when he was a child, he was a school child, he was able to give such a beautiful, mature answer. He said, "I don't find any reason in learning facts, number one, and number two, I don't think learning facts is education. Education is much beyond simply cramming up things or learning by rote, okay, or you can say learning by or you can say, like, you are used to hearing this word by heart, okay, learn by heart. A teacher used to write on a notebook in a childhood. So learn by heart is something what Albert Einstein used to very strongly dislike. Okay, he did not like to learn anything by heart. He wanted to understand. Okay, he wanted to absorb the concept in his mind. Okay, he wanted to understand the concept properly. He did not believe in simply mugging up the answers, mugging up the facts for producing in the examination. Okay, because he thought that learning facts is not education. Okay, education is a much bigger concept. Okay, it's a big term. Okay, just learning by heart does not, is not what education consists of. Is what Albert Einstein thinks. Now let's find out. "In that case," said the history teacher with heavy sarcasm. Sarcasm means making fun of somebody. Okay, is for sarcasm. Okay, if you say something, with with the intention of making fun at someone, this is what is called sarcasm. Okay, sarcasm. So now history teacher is making fun of Albert Einstein, saying that perhaps you will be so kind as to tell the class Einstein's theory of education. Okay, he became absolutely angry, and in a sarcastic manner the teacher was trying to insult Albert Einstein. Then okay, you inform the class the Einstein theory of education. Okay, if you don't believe in by learning the facts by heart, if you don't believe in learning things by heart, or if you don't believe in learning facts, in that case you tell the class your theory of education. Okay, Einstein's theory of education. On hearing this, Albert flushed. He became he flushed because he was feeling very uncomfortable. Then he says, I think it's not facts that matter, but ideas. Okay? Yes. See, this is very important, dear students. You can also mark this particular sentence. Uh, it's a very resourceful sentence. It's the crux of all education. Okay? You try to understand this fact. He says, Albert Einstein says, you know, it's not the facts that matters, but ideas. Facts so anyone can learn. Okay? When did the World War take place? When did French Revolution take place? Okay, how did the French Revolution take place? Why did French Revolution take place, for example? Anyone can learn. Okay, that is fact. But what matters is ideas. Okay, we need to develop ideas. Okay, so I believe in not learning the facts, but I believe in ideas. This is what Einstein replied to his history teacher. I don't see the point in learning the dates of battles or even which of the armies killed more men. Okay, he said, I don't see the point in learning when did the French Revolution take place, or when did Industrial Revolution take place, okay, or when did Sepoy Mutiny take place, or India's First War of Independence take place. I am not in favor of just learning the dates of battles, or which armies killed more men. Okay, whether it's the U.S. Army or it's Chinese Army or Japanese Army. Which armies, like, he did not believe in the numbers, he did not believe in the dates. Okay, he believed in something deep. Actually, what is that? He is telling now, I'd be more interested in learning why those soldiers were trying to kill each other. Okay, so see, Albert Einstein since his childhood was more interested in ideas. So he wanted to know the reason as to why the soldiers of one country were trying to kill the soldiers of other countries. Why were they trying to kill one another? Why were they involved in war with one another? I am interested for such ideas. Okay, I am interested for such facts. I am not interested for when did the battle take place or how many soldiers were killed. I am not interested in such details. I am interested in the whys and hows of everything. Albert Einstein, dear students, were interested more in the whys and hows of everything. Okay, not what and when. Okay, he was more interested in why and how, whys and hows. Okay, that is why he is saying, I would be more interested in learning why those soldiers were trying to kill each other. Means he wanted to know the concept in intimate detail. Albert Einstein wanted to know the fact of any matter in intimate detail. Okay, he did not want to learn anything superficially. Okay, he wanted to go deep down into the matter and learn it. Okay, therefore he was not happy when his history teacher asked him some questions regarding when and what. Okay, anyway, that's enough. Mr. Braun's eyes were cold and cruel. Mr. Braun became very, very irritated, he felt insulted because Albert Einstein was a student, and being a student he was not supposed to say something which he is not supposed to say. He is not supposed to disrespect the teacher with his statement. But Albert Einstein is very frank, as I told you, dear students. He used to always speak outrightly, point blankly, very, very straightforward. Okay, therefore his teacher did not like him. Albert Einstein was not trying to deliberately disrespect his teacher. For your information, dear students, Albert Einstein was trying to make his teacher understand his concept about education. Okay, he was never interested to disrespect the teacher, but the teacher took him in a negative manner and became very much offended. He became cruel and then said, "We don't want a lecture from you, Einstein. You will stay in for an extra period today, although I don't imagine it will do you much good. Okay, he became very angry and he reacted very angrily, and he said, "We don't want a lecture from you, Einstein. You shall stay in for an extra period after the school gets over, even though I know that this particular extra period is not going to help you or benefit you anyway, but still you are supposed to stay back after the school for an extra class. It won't do the school any good either. Okay, your stay back for an hour would not make anything good for the school also, and nor will it make anything good to you, I know, but in spite of that you've got to stay back as a punishment. Okay, after the school. You are a disgrace. I don't know why you continue to come. You are a disgrace. Okay, yeah, I don't know why you continue to come. I don't know the reason as to why you come. Okay, I don't know the reason as to why you come to school. You are a disgrace. You are a disgrace means you have no sense of etiquette. You don't have any sense of manner. You are a disgrace for the society. You are a disgrace for the school. Okay, you are not supposed to come to school with such attitude and such mentality. Then Albert says, "It's not my wish, sir." Albert pointed out. Albert, what did Albert point out, dear students? He says, "Sir, coming to the school is not my wish, sir. I don't want to come to school." Okay, it means it is somebody else's wish for which Albert Einstein got or took admission in the school. Albert Einstein did not want to study in school, but his father wanted him to study like other children. Therefore, Albert Einstein enrolled himself in the school. Okay, that is why he is very candidly or very frankly admitting the fact that it's not his wish to come to school. Okay, so till this point, do you have any doubt, dear students? If so, you can text me quickly before I proceed further. If you have any doubt, you can ask me quickly, and if not, I shall continue with my explanation. So what's wrong with Nidhi? She is not present. Aditya, hopefully now my voice is very clear. Don't you think so? Okay. Okay. Thank you. Hopefully these are all your ideas, Sadvika, Suhani and all that. If you do not have your own ID, kindly make your own ID. Otherwise, by mistake, I might read out your father's name or your mom's name. In that case, you might mind me. So it's better you make your own ID. Most of you have made your own ID, hopefully, but there might be one or two in between. So please make your own ID and log into YouTube. Okay, thank you so much, dear students. Let me continue then. Okay, so it's not my wish, sir, Albert pointed out. Then you are an ungrateful boy and ought to be ashamed of yourself. I suggest you ask your father to take you away. Okay, now his teacher has become, he's already very much angry, and now he's asking Albert to tell his father to come to school and take his transfer. Then you are an ungrateful boy. You are an ungrateful boy, Einstein, and you ought to be ashamed of yourself. It means you should feel ashamed of your own activities. Okay, you are very disrespectful. You should be ashamed of yourself. I suggest you to ask your father to take you away. Then Albert felt miserable when he left school that afternoon, because in front of the class the history teacher has insulted him. Therefore he felt miserable. It's quite natural that afternoon. Not that it had been a bad day, most days were bad now anyway, but because he had to go back to the hateful place the next morning. Okay. So why did Albert Einstein feel bad or miserable that afternoon, after he reported back to his residence? because, not because he was scolded by his teacher, but because he had to go to that hateful place the next morning. Why hateful place, dear students? Because Einstein had nothing to learn from the school. Einstein was much more ahead of his class insofar as his knowledge of science and mathematics and other subjects were concerned. Okay, therefore, reporting to school is just a waste of time for Albert Einstein. Therefore, and moreover, his teachers were not cooperative. His teachers wanted to assert their points of view to the children, which he did not like. There was no experimentation, there was no hands-on learning, there was no experiential learning, there was nothing of this sort available in the school. Therefore, Einstein had nothing to learn from the school. Therefore, he felt miserable in the afternoon that day, just because he had to go back to the hateful place the next morning. He only wished his father would take him away, and now he also wished his father take him away. But there was no point in even asking. He knew what the answer would be. He would have to stay until he had taken his diploma. He had to stay until he had taken his diploma. He had to continue with his school education. Going back to his lodgings did not cheer him up. When he went back to his lodging, where he used to stay, did not cheer him up. His father had so little money to spare that Albert had been found a room in one of the poorest quarters of Munich. Dear students, you see his family financial condition wasn't so sound. His father was a poor person. His father had so little money to spare that Albert had to stay in the poorest quarters of Munich. Okay, in one of the poorest quarters he had to stay, because his father could not afford a higher rent. Therefore, Albert had to stay in a very cramped house, okay, in a cramped room, okay, in the poorest quarters of Munich. He did not find the bad food and lack of comfort, or even the dirt and squalor, but he hated the atmosphere of slum violence. But there was a lot of violence in the neighborhood where he was given a rent, or where he was living on rent. He did not mind having bad food, or he did not mind having no comfort in the slum, in the quarter where he was living. He did not mind the dirt and squalor, all this. But what he did mind was slum violence, because there is a lot of violence in that particular neighborhood. Okay, his landlady beat her children regularly, and every Saturday her husband came drunk and beat her. So this is about the landlady. So the house which he took on rent was also having violence in the form of the landlord beating his landlady. Okay, I mean beating his wife, in front of children. Okay, I mean and children as well. His landlady beat her children regularly. His landlady beat her children regularly, and every Saturday her husband came drunk and beat her. Okay, so landlady was very cruel enough to beat her own children, and every Saturday her husband himself used to beat her after having drunk. Okay, so this was the domestic violence amid which Albert Einstein was given a grant to live. So can you imagine to what extent he could negotiate, to what extent he could sacrifice the right ambience of studies. But in spite of that, he was studying, just because his father was not able to afford the rent of a house in a good area, in a good neighborhood. It was not possible for his father. Therefore, he had to stay there for some time. But his father wanted him to stay, and his father wanted him to complete his diploma, and then he should leave the school. Therefore, he had to stay back. But at least you have a room of your own, which is more than I can say Yuri. When he called round in the evening, okay. But Yuri means his friend. So he called out his friend on that day, and he was sharing with his friend all these things, what happened in the school and all that. And of course, he also informed about the domestic violence of the house which you can rent. But at least you have a room. His friend said, at least you have a room of your own where you can sleep and eat, which is more than I can say, said Yuri when he called round in the evening. At least you live among civilized human beings, even if they are all poor students, said Albert. Okay. Albert said, but think about you. You are much better placed because you are living in among civilized human beings. There is no violence of domestic violence of any kind. Okay. In the place where you live in, even though you live among the poor students, but still you are mentally sound because you do not have any kind of domestic violence in the place where you are living with other poor children. They are not all civilized, he replied. Did you not hear that one of them was killed last week in a duel? Okay, so they are not civilized. They are not all civilized. So last week, the previous week, he was talking about. Yuri was talking about the previous week when one of the persons involved in fighting was killed. And what happens to the one who killed him? Nothing, of course. He is even proud of it. His only worry is that the authorities have told him not to fight any more duels. Okay, so he went scot-free. He was not caught by the police, and he was just left with a warning that you should not involve yourself in the fight anymore. He is upset about this because he hasn't a single scar on his face to wear for the rest of his life as a badge of honor. Okay, so he's upset about this. Why he is upset about this? Because he hasn't a single scar on his face to wear for the rest of his life as a badge of honor. Okay, exclaimed Albert, and these are the students, and these are the students. Well, you will be a student one day, said Yuri. Okay, I doubt it, said Albert glumly. I don't think I will ever pass the exams for the school diploma. You will be a student one day. It means that after they pass out the diploma course, they will be given a certificate. In that case, they are successful as a student. But this is what Yuri means to say here. So he said, I don't think, I doubt it, Albert said. But Albert said, I don't think I should be able to continue in that school and be a student as you said, because I don't think I will ever pass the exam for the school diploma. Okay. He told his cousin Elsa. Now the narrative has shifted to the description of his cousin Elsa. He told his cousin Elsa the same next time she came to Munich. Normally she lived in Berlin where her father had a business. I am not sure you could learn enough to pass the exams, Albert. If you tried, she said. I know lots of boys who are much more stupid than you are who get through. They say you don't have to know anything. You don't have to understand what you were taught. Just be able to repeat it in the examinations. So his sister said, I know many boys, who are much more stupid than you are. Okay, they are not so good in studies. Okay, you are much better than them. But still they pass out. Why? Because they mark up the facts in the examination. They write in the mark up the facts for the exam, write them in the exam, and they pass out. Okay. Albert then replied, that's the whole trouble, he said. I am not good at learning things by heart. I cannot learn things by heart. I am very poor at that. That is why probably I shall not be able to pass out the school diploma, okay, and get a certificate of student. Okay, I cannot because I am not good at learning things by heart. You don't need to be good at it. Anyone can learn like a parrot. You just don't try. You are not just trying. Anyone can learn like a parrot. Why do you say you cannot learn things by heart? And yet I always see you with a book under your arm, added Elsa. What is the one you are reading? Okay, now Elsa says, it is very controversial for me to think, it appears to be very much confusing for me to think, in spite of always carrying a book with you, you are not reading, you are saying. What do you do then? What is the one that you are reading? Okay, a book on geology. Geology? Rocks and things? Do you learn that? No, we have hardly any science at school. We don't have any science subjects in school, therefore we don't learn these. These are not taught in the school. Then why are you studying it? Because I like it. Isn't that a good enough reason? Elsa sighed. Because I like it, was the reply of Einstein. Isn't that a good enough reason? Elsa sighed. So Elsa became very much surprised. She was sighing because Albert Einstein wasn't reading the book of his syllabus. He was reading a book which is not in the syllabus. He was reading a book which gave him interest. He was studying about rocks. Okay, he was studying about rocks and all those things from a book on geology, ignoring his books of syllabus. Okay, because he has nothing to learn from this is what he has to say, and he is moreover not good at learning things by heart. Okay, school subjects don't interest him, therefore he is very much dissatisfied with the system of education in the school. Therefore he thinks that he cannot pass out the diploma from school and be eligible for a diploma certificate. Okay, so dear students, do you have any more class now? Do you have any class at 12:30? Please confirm me with the text quickly. Do you have any class at 12:30? Okay. Okay, thank you, Suhani. Thank you, Sadvika. So let me continue a little longer. Okay. Can I extend little longer? Okay. 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 You are right, of course, Albert, she said, but it won't help with your diploma. Okay. I know that you are right, dear Albert. His sister said, Elsa said, you are right, I know, but it won't help with your diploma. Apart from books on science, his only comfort was music, and he played his violin regularly until his landlady asked him to stop. Apart from books on science, dear students, he loved music and he played his violin regularly. Okay, till his landlady asked him to stop, because his landlady was a quarrelsome lady. That's why she did not endorse or support him always in playing violin. That wailing gets on my nerves, she said. There's enough noise in this house with all the kids howling. Albert was tempted to point out that most of the time it was she who made them howl, but he decided it was better to say nothing. Okay, because he is living on a rent basis and she is the landlady, therefore he kept quiet, even though she herself was the reason for so much of noise in the house. I must get away from here, he told Yuri after 6 months alone in Munich. So now the narration has shifted to the conversation between Albert and Yuri. Okay, now his conversation with his sister has ended. Now the conversation is shifted to Albert and his friend Yuri. I must get away from here, he told Yuri after 6 months alone in Munich. It's absurd that I should go on like this. In the end, it will turn out I have been wasting my father's money and everyone's time. It will be better for all if I stop now. And then what will you do? Yuri asked. I don't know. If I go to Milan, I'm afraid my father will send me back unless... His eyes gleamed with a sudden idea. Yuri, do you know any friendly doctors? Okay. He said that Albert says that he cannot go back to his hometown or Milan because if he goes there, his father will send him back to this place once again. Therefore, he doesn't want to go to his residence at this moment on his own. Okay. Therefore, he's asking Yuri whether he knows any doctor. Okay. Then he said, I know a lot. Yuri replies, I know a lot of medical students and some of them are friendly. A doctor, no, I have never had enough money to go to one. Why? Suppose, says Albert, that I had a nervous breakdown. Suppose a doctor would say it's bad for me to go to school and I need to get right away from it. Okay. So Albert Einstein wants a doctor, okay, to give a certificate to him, writing that Albert Einstein is suffering from nervous breakdown, and it's very important for him to take a few days off from the school. So this particular certificate from a doctor would certainly help him to take rest for a while, and on the one hand it will work for his school, and on the other hand his father will also be convinced. Okay, therefore he wanted a doctor to write the certificate of unfit certificate, okay, for Albert Einstein, so that he can keep going to school. Okay, next, I can't imagine a doctor saying that, said Yuri. I must try, said Albert, to find a doctor who specializes in nerves. There are plenty of them, Yuri told him. He hesitated for a moment and then added, rather reluctantly, I'll ask some of the students if they know, okay. He hesitated for a moment and then added rather reluctantly, I'll ask some of the students if they know one, if you like. Will you? Oh, thank you, Yuri. Albert's eyes were shining. Wait a moment, I haven't found one yet. Oh, but you will, and if I do, I don't know if he'll be willing to help you. Okay, even if I find a doctor, nerve doctor, okay, neuro doctor, then I am not sure whether he is going to oblige your wish and write a fake certificate for you. This is what the Yuri now informs Albert. Okay, but Albert says no. Why not? I'll explain it properly so that he's able to understand me and issue me a certificate. Okay, which I can produce in the school. So dear students, let me wind up here, because some physics, some science students have got physics class. They need to have their lunch and all that. So I shall continue with my class in the next day, and you can have your lunch now. Thank you so much for attending the classes. Please tell your friends to sort of be present on online class, okay, because it is the new normal. Everyone has to attend the online class, because no one knows when the regular classes are going to start. Dear students, Ranga's marriage is I've already uploaded. I checked that day, so you can write down answers from Ranga's marriage. Okay, please do write down answers from Ranga's marriage from my website on your notebook, and kindly do upload the PDF file on the library section of my website inside your classes. Okay, you make a folder in your name, and inside that you please keep uploading the notebook completion status in the form of PDF files. Thank you, dear. Thank you so much, dear students. Take care and have a nice day. Do write down the question answers from Ranga's marriage. Okay. In the meantime, from tomorrow onwards, I shall start making answers for the rest of the textbooks. I'm very much busy, dear students, because Ganesh Chaturthi is going on in my house as well. Therefore, from tomorrow onwards, I shall work on updating my work website. Okay, but as of now, dear students, you please write down the notes from Ranga's marriage. Okay, thank you so much, Mayur, Chaitanya, Mansi, Arya, all of you, those who are present with me all throughout. Thank you.